Deal or a flash in the pan? Joining us now is Tony Sayegh, Republican political analyst and campaign consultant and national political correspondent for Talk Radio News Service, and Ryan Clayton, Democratic campaign consultant and founder of www.100proofpolitics.com. Tony and Ryan, welcome this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Sure.
Thanks, Eric.
Tony, let me start with you.
Sure.
Mr. Kaine says he's in it to win it. Can he?
Well, listen, conventional wisdom says no. It's very hard to imagine that Herman Cain, though doing extremely well in the polls, is going to ultimately become the nominee. But he's doing something that not any other candidate is doing, which is he's connecting in such a real way with an emotionally charged Republican electorate that comes out in these primaries. It's very unconventional the way he's doing it. So, in other words, there's no model to say, yes, he can win because this candidate did this in the past. So it's very difficult to give him credit for that. But the fact that he is an outsider and that he is trumpeting his business credentials does give him a great amount of market share of the electorate, which is what's reflected in these polls. Is he going to win in the ballot box? That's a different question.
Yeah, but you know, the polls have been like the stock market. They've been going like, you know, this, up, someone's up one day, then down the next. Look at Governor Perry.
Sure.
I mean, in the long run, what happens when we get to next year?
That's precisely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Republican primary voters were really excited about Rick Perry, just like they were really excited about Michelle Bachmann, just like they were really excited about Sarah Palin, and now they're excited about Herman Cain, who may be proved to be more than just a flash in the pan. And the fact is that Republican primary voters just can't get excited about who we all know is going to be the inevitable Republican nominee, and that's Mitt Romney.
Well, Ryan, you jumped in there while Tony was about to answer, so go ahead, Tony.
Right. Well, Eric, that's precisely the point. It's staying power. And does Herman Cain have the staying power? He has lasted, though, as the front runner. This is what's so interesting. Rick Perry, who by all accounts was supposed to be the person who grabbed this field when he jumped in, had a very short tenure at the top of the field. Herman Cain's been now close to the top with Romney for about a month, doing a fairly good job, sustaining attacks to his 999 proposal, criticisms of the way he's running his campaign. So we can't totally dismiss him. However, the bigger factor is slightly to what Ryan is alluding. You have the Romney candidates and you have the anti-Romney candidates. People don't want to necessarily give this race up to Mitt Romney yet. Those people right now are backing Cain. That can still shift, but the reality is these Cain voters are going to select the nominee of the Republican Party without a doubt.
Well, you know, he's become under attack that he hadn't focused on Iowa, New Hampshire. Some members of his campaign staff have left. Doesn't have that big, broad campaign organization on the ground out there that a winner, Ryan, you would think a winner would need.
Yeah, well, he just recently went to Alabama, which is nowhere near the top of the list for most Republican primary candidates, but maybe he's got a particular appeal there because part of his platform is to electrocute immigrants coming across the desert into this country. And now the really sad thing about that is
he said he would put up an electric fence, and then he kind of, you know,
and then he called it a joke.
Walked that back a little bit.
Have some levity.
Yeah, he did walk it back a little bit, but that's also where he took off with support. And that's also where Rick Perry lost all of his support because he called people heartless for saying that immigrant children shouldn't be able to go to school in Texas. So, you know, I think that that's a really sad day for the Republican Party, where the candidates either rise or fall based on how much they hate immigrants in this country.
Oh, come on, Ryan. That's absolutely preposterous. Look, I do agree with this fact that Rick Perry's immigration position did begin the beginning of the decline. Without a doubt, he did not have a cogent response to what many Republicans actually believe is a fair immigration policy. The conservative base, not necessarily. But Herman Cain is not somebody you should just dismiss as not serious because he doesn't have this organization. He is tapping into a real feeling, a palpable feeling among the primary voters that he speaks to them. He speaks on a level that they understand. Romney, Perry, these other guys, even Bachmann, are too political, too establishment. And this is going to have implications for both Obama and the eventual nominee in gaining support in the general election.
It's a surprising development. Mr. Cain in the lead. We'll see if that stays when the caucus occurs in January. Ryan Clayton and Tony Sayegh, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much
for having us.
Jamie?